Your brain was not destroyed in one night. You trained it slowly through repeated private betrayal. You fed it filth, then wondered why purity felt boring. You opened haram doors, then blamed temptation for entering. You touched the fire, then complained about feeling burned. The harsh truth is that this is not only lust. This is a private discipline problem hiding behind desire. This is a heart problem wearing the mask of pleasure. This is a gaze problem that became a brain problem. This is a phone problem that became a soul problem. You are not free when one image controls you. You are not free when one urge cancels your promise. You are not free when one night destroys your confidence. You are not free when secrecy becomes your comfort zone. That is not freedom, that is slavery with Wi-Fi. And many men hate hearing that because it exposes them. They want purity while still following accounts that trigger them. They want discipline while keeping their phone beside their bed. They want Allah's help while protecting the path back to sin. But you cannot heal from poison while keeping the bottle close. You cannot desexualize your brain while feeding it filth daily. You cannot lower your gaze while your screen is full of traps. You cannot expect peace in Salah while your eyes betray Allah. Because the eye does not simply look at images. The eye records what the heart later replays. The brain does not simply watch and forget. The brain stores what you keep giving importance. The heart does not simply react and recover. The heart becomes shaped by what repeatedly enters it. That is why one forbidden glance is never just one glance. It becomes an image stored inside your imagination. Then it becomes a scene your mind revisits privately. Then it becomes a craving your body once repeated. Then it becomes an action you promised to avoid. Then it becomes regret that slowly turns into numbness. The scariest stage is not when you feel guilty. The scariest stage is when you feel nothing afterward. Because a living heart still feels pain after disobedience. A dying heart sins and only fears being exposed. That is why this sin is so dangerous. It does not always destroy you loudly in public. It destroys your confidence quietly in private moments. It destroys your focus quietly when work gets difficult. It destroys your ambition quietly by weakening your drive. It destroys your salah quietly by filling your heart with darkness. It trains your brain to demand pleasure without responsibility. It trains your body to expect reward without effort. It trains your heart to hide shame behind temporary relief. Then you wonder why real life feels too slow. You wonder why marriage feels scary and fantasy feels easy. You wonder why discipline feels heavy and desire feels natural. You wonder why your mind runs to sin under stress. The answer is uncomfortable, but it is simple. You have repeated weakness until weakness became familiar. You have repeated escape until escape became automatic. You have repeated lust until purity started feeling strange. This is why guilt alone has not saved you. You have felt guilty many times and still returned. You have promised yourself many times and still returned. You have cried after sin and still protected the trigger. Because guilt can wake a man up temporarily, but only systems keep a man awake consistently. If your system remains dirty, your emotions will eventually collapse. If your access remains open, your desire will eventually enter. If your nights remain empty, your nafs will start speaking. If your phone remains uncontrolled, your relapse is already prepared. A serious Muslim man does not wait for temptation. He removes the fuel before the flame appears. He does not test himself beside the fire. He creates distance before desire becomes louder than reason. So the first rule is brutally simple tonight. Your phone does not sleep beside your bed anymore. Your bed is for sleep, not secret defeat. Your room is not a battlefield after midnight. Your tired brain cannot be trusted with unlimited internet. Your lonely self cannot be trusted with private scrolling. Your bored self cannot be trusted with hidden browsing. Stop pretending you are strong in your weakest environment. You are not weak because you need boundaries. You are weak because you keep rejecting boundaries. The second rule is to clean your digital world ruthlessly. Unfollow every account that awakens lust inside you. Delete every app that keeps opening the same door. Block every website that has buried your confidence before. Remove every saved image that keeps calling you back. Do not call this extreme when sin became normal. Do not call this difficult when slavery became comfortable. Do not call this unnecessary when relapse keeps humiliating you. Your repentance is not serious while the pathway remains protected. Your regret is not serious while the trigger remains available. Your promise is not serious while the door remains unlocked. The third rule is to lower your gaze immediately. Not after enjoying the image for 3 seconds, not after zooming in and pretending it was accidental, not after testing whether you can handle it. The first glance may catch you by surprise, but the second glance reveals what you really want. And many men lose the battle at the second glance. They do not fall because the image was powerful. They fall because they decided to keep looking. Lowering the gaze is not a small religious detail. It is protection for your brain, heart, and future. Allah did not command it to make life miserable. Allah commanded it because He knows what images do. He knows how one look becomes one memory. He knows how one memory becomes one private fantasy. He knows how one fantasy becomes one repeated sin. He knows how repeated sin becomes a damaged heart. So stop treating lowering the gaze like optional advice. Treat it like emergency protection for your soul. The fourth rule is to replace desire with movement. A lazy body becomes a playground for temptation. A bored mind becomes a theater for dirty imagination. Unused energy always searches for somewhere to go. If you do not direct it upward, it drags you downward. Train your body before your body trains you. Lift weights, walk hard, run, sweat, and struggle. Make your body taste discipline every single day. Because desire loves comfort and hates serious effort. A man who moves becomes harder to control. A man who trains becomes harder to weaken. A man who suffers voluntarily becomes stronger privately. But fitness alone will not purify a dirty heart. You need worship, not just sweat and muscle. You need remembrance, not just discipline and aesthetics. You need Allah, not only self-improvement language. The fifth rule is to run toward Allah immediately. When the urge rises, do not negotiate with it. When the fantasy appears, do not entertain the scene. When the screen calls you, stand up immediately. Make wudu, change location, and pray 2 rak'ah. Do not sit still while temptation preaches to you. Do not lie there while your desire builds arguments. Do not debate with the version of you that loves sin. That version has lied to you many times before. It said one look would not hurt you. It said one night would not change anything. It said repentance would be easy afterward. It said you would stop after this time. But every time it left you weaker. Every time it left you ashamed and empty. Every time it made Allah feel more distant. So stop taking advice from your weakest self. When the urge speaks, answer with action immediately. Stand up before the thought becomes a scene. Move before the scene becomes a craving. Pray before the craving becomes a fall. The sixth rule is to study your relapses honestly. Most men do not fall randomly into sin. They fall through patterns they refuse to examine. There is usually an hour before the relapse. There is usually an emotion before the relapse. There is usually a trigger before the relapse. There is usually a lie before the relapse. Maybe you were lonely and wanted comfort. Maybe you were stressed and wanted escape. Maybe you were rejected and wanted fake validation. Maybe you were bored and wanted stimulation. Maybe you were angry and wanted control. Find the real trigger before it finds you again. Because desire is rarely only about desire. Sometimes lust is loneliness wearing a dirty mask. Sometimes lust is stress looking for fast relief. Sometimes lust is boredom begging for cheap excitement. Sometimes lust is pain searching for sinful medicine. But haram pleasure is medicine that worsens the disease. It gives seconds of relief and hours of regret. It gives the body pleasure and the heart darkness. It gives dopamine quickly and takes dignity slowly. That trade is too expensive for a Muslim man. You are selling your future for a few dirty minutes. You are selling your confidence for a private illusion. You are selling your peace for temporary body pleasure. You are selling your heart for images that do not love you. And after it ends, you are left with yourself again. No woman on a screen carries your shame afterward. No fantasy helps you rebuild your discipline afterward. No dirty image stands beside you on Judgment Day. You stand there with your choices and your record. That thought should wake something serious inside you. Because Allah sees what the locked door hides. Allah sees what the browser history tries to erase. Allah sees what your face hides from people. Allah sees the search before you even type it. Allah sees the glance before you justify it. Allah sees the intention before the action happens. And this should not make you hopeless. It should make you serious before you fall again. Because the same Allah who sees your sin sees your struggle. The same Allah who knows your weakness knows your repentance. The same Allah who witnessed your fall can witness your return. But return cannot mean repeating the same setup again. Return means deleting what keeps dragging you backward. Return means changing the hour that keeps exposing you. Return means protecting your gaze before desire grows stronger. Return means refusing the comfort that keeps weakening you. Return means becoming harder for Shaitan to access. So tonight, do not just feel motivated. Motivation without action becomes another form of entertainment. Open your phone and remove the doors immediately. Clean your feed like your soul depends on it. Move your phone away before the night arrives. Plan your dangerous hours before they attack you. Fill your day with work, worship, training, and purpose. Because an empty life invites the same old demons. A purposeless man becomes easy prey for lust. A disciplined man gives his energy a mission. A Muslim man remembers that desire is not his master. You were not created to obey every urge. You were not created to worship pixels secretly. You were not created to be controlled by fantasy. You were created to worship Allah with strength. You were created to lead yourself before leading others. You were created to protect your gaze and heart. You were created for discipline, marriage, responsibility, and purity. So take your brain back before filth becomes your identity. Take your eyes back before fantasy destroys your reality. Take your heart back before numbness becomes your normal state. Because the man you want to become is waiting, but he cannot rise while you keep feeding what buries him.